Hey again, it's Atlanta Discuss. I'm still your host, your boy, Adebalogo. Yes, we're here every Friday. Yes, it's a very scintillating topic, but yeah, there are a lot of things happening all over the world at the moment, too many events. But we always come up with a scholar, an erudite one. That's our keyword, erudite scholar, people that are true to power, that will shed light on those topics the way it should be done. And today we're talking about the potential impact of elections on global politics and policies. So you can see that a lot is happening. We just had an election in the UK. We just had one in France. And there's a major one coming up in the United States of America. And now Africa, motherland, a lot of elections. We have election coming in Ghana. We've had very successful election in Senegal, and South Africa too also live up to the billing. So Nigeria, yes, not doing too well. The last election, the country has not recovered from it. Everything is upside down. We're going to talk about everything. So we're going to talk about UK election, French election, the future of election, how it affects world politics and policy. And there's nobody else to bring here, somebody that has seen it all, that is part of the game right now. His name is Councillor Sonny Lambe. Councillor Lambe, welcome to Atlanta Discuss.
Thank you for having me again. It's nice to see you.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, before we go ahead, I think I have to congratulate you. I know you're not here in that capacity. You're here in the personal capacity, but I need to congratulate you. That's the deputy mayor of the London Borough of Suffolk. Yeah, did I pronounce
Suffolk? Yeah, London Borough of Suffolk. Of course, I'm not coming here in that capacity tonight. I'm coming here to join you as a brother on this program in my personal capacity. Of course, I'm a member. I'm from the Yoruba, Nigerian, and African origin. So therefore, so I'm coming in that capacity, and hopefully I'll be able to do justice to the discussion we're going to have.
All right, that's cool. It's important to add that you're a dentist, Yoruba apologist.
I'm full 1000% Yoruba man. Yoruba people say a river don't forget his source. It's going to run dry now. So that's my source. That's my origin.
Okay.
And the tree that forgets his roots is going to just going to fall off.
All right, fair enough. So in our tradition, we always go for the jugular. There's really no time to waste. Our job is just to disseminate positive news in a world filled with a lot of bad news, and good or bad, just the facts. We'll go for the facts. So how does world election affect world economic policies? And that's just what we want to do. So let's start with your country the country you're domiciled in, not your country of origin. The Labour Party just won, I'll call it a landslide. More like
a landslide, yeah. Over 400 seats we've just won, yeah.
Okay. All right. So what do you think we should expect? I mean, foreign policy-wise, is there anything that's going to change Britain to the world?
Well, I mean, obviously, our leader, Sir Keir Starmer, is just, taking office. Personally, I don't see much changing, immediately, because obviously they're only a week old in government. So they have to, first of all, evaluate the situation they find themselves, and then see where they can pick up from. Of course, we have an idea. I haven't been following what has been going on for months, years. But I mean, we have some ideas of what they want to do. But at the same time, in world politics, in global politics, sometimes it could be very fluid, and what was okay yesterday may not be the same even the following morning. So I wouldn't like to be in the position of our Foreign Secretary, David Lambe, or even the leader at the moment, because there are so many things they have to wrestle with, and I wish them all the best. But it's not going to be easy, I tell you. Yeah, for any leader, for that matter, whether in our country, UK, or outside.
Okay, so do you think Britain, UK, I mean, this, I'm not trying to provoke you, but I've heard a lot of people say in recent time, we always say Great Britain. I've heard people say not so Great Britain. Do you agree with that? That Britain is not doesn't have that impact of the old?
It depends on how,
Commonwealth, you know,
well, it depends on how you define great.
Second World War Leviathan.
It depends on how you define, the word great. If you want to define it in terms of the old empire, obviously not. But you want to define it in modern Britain, a very inclusive Britain, where even somebody like myself can become, an elected councillor, a deputy mayor, and hopefully, become mayor in near future. And you
Amen.
see the number of, MPs from diverse communities, Asian, African, and South American, even, from very diverse communities becoming MP in Labour government, and some of them taking ministerial position. So, and, I mean, where in the whole world that we go as a foreigner, you can easily blend in and become part of that community, and and the government and every machinery of government it's not everywhere you can find that. Even if you find it, I mean, it's not as great, if you want to use the word great, as Britain. So I'm proud to say yes. Britain is still a great Britain, and that is welcoming, that is inclusive. Of course, it's not perfect, but even we as individuals, are we perfect? No. So therefore, yes, Britain is still a great Britain, but not in the colonial sense, but in a more inclusive and welcoming way. I hope I managed to answer your question.
Oh, absolutely. I'm actually impressed. Well, I wasn't expecting to go through that direction, but I think you've satisfied all righteousness. It's a more inclusive country.
Yeah.
A lot of Muslims are more embedded in the country. They're more embedded in the politics.
Yeah.
Mayor of London is a Muslim. Birmingham, I think Coventry,
Exactly.
I'm not sure.
Exactly.
So, I mean,
Even
you have vital statistics also.
even the
And I'm
leader
sure
of
off
the
my
leader
head.
of Scotland, is of Asian origin. Of course, he may have been second or third generation. He's still of Asian origin. So therefore, I mean, it's even the former leader of Scottish, Scottish National Party, used to be of Asian origin as well. So before they lost their seat, of course, before that they had they did an election. I think he stepped down and somebody else took over, and then they didn't do very well, of course, at the last election, but it's still of Asian origin. So and so therefore, yes, I think we are doing great. I would say that's why Britain is is Great Britain.
All right, small but mighty. Anyway, I don't think the world should really be worried about what the outcome of UK election, because whether Labour or Conservative, they're always tilted to where America is going, So I think there's really no so stress with Britain. But let's quickly go to France. There was this election recently where the far right led, and there was a subsequent runoff, and everybody had to come together, centrists, leftists, just to make sure the far right did not get power,
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add to that? Do you have any inner workings, any information on the inner workings that won't lead to that in France?
Of course, yeah. I mean, maybe because the only French I speak it is when it is dark in the night, so that's why I can't understand the French very well. However,
Okay.
from what I've been following over the last few weeks, I think Mr. Macron, he probably made a big mistake, by by calling an election, early election, thinking that his party was going to do very well. From the look of things, they came second, if I can remember. They came second in the elections, and of course, the lefties, parties, whether you call them extreme left or center left. Funny, I personally don't like that description. I think it's demeaning to put people on the left, right side, or center. It depends on the issues you feel passionate about. It could be immigration, it could be economy, it could be, it could be anything. And if you feel strongly about that, people quickly put you in a corner, put a little box and give you a label. I personally don't like that. We are politicians. There are things we feel very passionate about. But let's come back to the French election. So I believe Mr. Macron's came second, and then those who are of socialist policies or socially views, socially ideology, came most of them. I mean, there's quite a few of them. They came, we would say, came close, close first, and of course, the what you can describe as probably nationalist one, which is Miss Le Pen. I think if I can't remember her name.
Yeah, Le Pen.
Yeah, Le Pen came third. Now, what I learned over the last few days is that when because the left, there are so many of them, it's like they want to have an unholy alliance, because they can see make it just there are too many left parties to form to form government, which it can do. But because of the negotiation, was going long too long, so Mr. Macron decided to take a fast one and then and say, okay, why you guys are not before you okay, if by the time you get your act together, I think we're already in government, so therefore we know what to do. We're just going to go and form government with the with a few of you who may be interested in forming government with us. Of course, that didn't go down well with the left, if I could describe them that way. So, and they said they probably in the next week or two they'll be able to conjoin a few like-minded parties together to form a government and then have somebody who will act as the prime minister. Of course, I don't think the president it's not due for the next 3 years. I think if I can remember. But funny enough, their own system of government is quite interesting. To be honest, I'm still learning about it. But they can appoint the prime minister, as far as and unfortunately, if I remember as well, the current prime minister, which I've forgotten his name, wanted to step down, and then Mr. Macron asked him to stay on until the current situation resolved one way or the other. So because he wanted to step down immediately when the election result was unfavorable to them. But Mr. Macron advised him to stay on so that they have a stable government, and it probably makes sense since the left are going to conjoin a few if a few a few people together to form their own coalition. So while they are doing that, it makes sense to have a stable government. So I think it's a very good idea that the current prime minister should stay on until that is done. So that's as far as I know in terms of in terms of French politics. That's why I said to you, the only French I speak is only when it's very, very dark,
Yeah, but unlike Britain, whether it's Labour or Conservative, people are not really worried, as in I'm talking of the Western powers, NATO and all that. But with France, there's a lot of agitation, a lot of worry if the far right wins under Le Pen. Why do you think that's so?
Well, in my own opinion, again, obviously you have political ideologies, you have, each, that's why we have different parties. Otherwise, we just have one party. If they don't have different ideologies, and that's if they don't have different ways, alternative way of doing things, even if we're going to do the same thing, they're probably going to do it different. Otherwise, even you as the host, you wouldn't have your own channel if you believe what you are doing, which is similar to what other stations are doing, but you believe you can do it better, you can do it justice, and the same principle applies to political parties. They believe, well, we can do it better. So that's why you have, what you call, the liberal, the left, and the right. And so that's why you have this mix of different ideologies trying to figure out what's the best for the country. Some of them feel strongly about immigration. Some of them believe that, perhaps the government have a soft soft touch on, on immigration, while some of them believe they have a better idea of how to make things better. Or while some of them feel that, well, actually, we believe we have enough, and we're a small country. How do we, if we allow too many people in, it's going to create, social confusion. And therefore, in order to have social cohesion, you probably need to have some degree of control over these things. So that's why you have different political parties with their own ideologies and also their own policies on how to deal with these issues, in my opinion.
Yeah. So you were saying something about Macron earlier on. He came into 2017 for his first time and he was reelected in 2022. Yeah. So understandably, I think the French run at 5-year term.
It's in the next 3.
Yeah. So I think he has about 3 at least. I'm not sure if he can run a third term or something like that. But so France still it's still in a controlling seat. And I think I like the way he navigated the runoff, and he was able to maneuver Le Pen and the far right out of the controlling driver's seat. That shows he's a good politician.
Well, he's a clever politician.
It shows that calling for the election wasn't a bad idea at the end of the day, But let's come to the strongest nation in the world, United States of America. It's Biden versus Trump and all that. The world, a lot of people even in NATO feel that Trump was a bad idea, Biden's a bad this, Biden is weak, Biden is that. So there's a lot to discuss on the American election. Let me ask you first, do you think President Biden should step down? That is too old to run.
Funny, I'm not in a position to say. I'm giving you my opinion. I'm not in a position to say whether he should step down or not. I mean, the American people, I believe, they are better informed than me to decide whether he should step down or carry on. They are the better judge. I mean, also, I believe Mr. Biden will do what he believes is best for him and his family and his party and the country. When he assesses, evaluates the situation, if he feels that, he has too much on his plate and the time has come for him to, to just go and enjoy his retirement, he may want to do that. After all, I think he's here about 90 or something like that, is it? How old is it? 81, sorry, 81. So even 81, there are people who are over 90, they're still, still going on. What is important is you are able, so I'm not ageist, as long as you are able to do the job at hand, then you still can relate to people that elected you in that position. Well, by all means, why not continue to carry on as long as you can?
Absolutely. I mean, he didn't hide it even in the first term. I think he mentioned that the only reason why he's running, that he should play with his grandkids and all that, the only reason why he's running is to remove Donald Trump from power, which he succeeded in doing the first time. Now, this time around, it's another Royal Rumble, Trump versus Biden. It's going to be very interesting.
It's going to be It's going to be a very interesting contest. It's like the run of 2020. Is it 2020? Yeah, it's going to be a run of 2020. Then 2019. So 2020.
Someone recently, the attempted assassination former President Trump. Do you think that changes the entire game? Do you think that's going to work in favor of Trump? Do you think it changes the whole narrative?
First of all, my ask goes to former President Trump and his family. Irrespective of political differences, nobody should have to go through that. We've seen so many of that in recent history. It's really sad, and for people to to get that low to the point of having to get rid of their opponents. I used to think, things like that happen a lot in Africa and other parts of the world, but here we go. Which means no country can be complacent in their democratic, dispensation. Well,
Absolutely.
so I was really sad because I was watching I think I can't remember, I was watching Al Jazeera or Sky, and breaking news, and I saw it live. I actually saw it live when and when it happened, because they were transmitting it live. I was shocked, and I would say, "Oh, I prayed to God that he's alive." Funny enough, I could see him raising his face and saying, he's a very defiant, strong, Mr. Trump. You have to give him that. The contest between him and Mr. Biden is going to be a very, a very interesting one in November, I believe. The election is November,
Yeah,
isn't it? Yeah,
November. Yeah.
and
All right, just to
yeah.
put the president, that's Joseph R. Biden. He said in
Mm,
America we resolve our differences at the ballot box, not with bullets, and
mhm,
that's true. The way,
mm,
and he has also addressed the nation that people should tone
mhm,
down the rhetoric.
yeah.
We're better
Mhm,
than that. Blah blah blah.
mm.
Yada yada yada. And I
But
think
for, but
that's
for me, it
leadership.
was yeah, true. But for me, it was from the UK. I mean, thank God we don't have a problem with gun ownership. Maybe when you see, if I want to, say something about that kind of a statement that we resolve our differences, you know, not with guns. But you guys have the highest number of guns in the world. It's like even every house so probably have about 10 on average. So why having guns in the first? I mean, just forgive me, I'm just an outsider. So because you are not going to kill rat and rabbits, are you? If somebody offends you, you bring out your gun. Gosh, I mean, I'm sorry. Maybe that's why I don't like visiting America, because I just think, imagine if I upset somebody and the next he does is to bring out his gun. So, well, in a very, just to actually put in a very light-hearted kind of way. So, I believe you guys need to sort out your gun,
Well, a lot of
your
these things
gun
are
issue, because I thank God
yeah,
we don't have. But I wouldn't say that. I mean, that doesn't stop. It depends on whether a gun is in the hands of bad people, or the gun itself, or any weapon for that matter, is not the issue. It's whose that weapon is in the hand of. It could be a knife, it could be a gun, it could be even it could be a base bat,
mm,
that or cricket bat. Anything can become a weapon, and
absolutely.
depends on who has who owns it and who wants to use it. And that's what we should look at. I hope so it's not just in America, I think it's a global problem we need to
Exactly.
address, including for us in the UK as well, because I mean, it just was it last week when somebody got shot not too far away from in the head, not too far away from where I live. You can see. So whoever going to do damage, we always look for a way to get a weapon to do it. So about how do we allow it to get to that situation? And that's what we need to look at. What can we do to prevent somebody waking up and say, no, I want to harm or kill my fellow human being, whether husband and wife, because we have stories of, wife or husband taking a gun, and try to get rid of, eliminate, his or her partner. So how does it get to that state? I mean, what drove that young man, I believe he's only about 20 years old, that decided to want to eliminate, assassinate the former president? I mean, that's why all of us have responsibility to make sure we control the narrative and what we say in public, especially community and political leaders, because there are some people, they take whatever we say very seriously, and they reinterpret it and use it in the wrong way. And I feel as bad as the situation is, I see, because this is another human being that was driven to do that, no matter how evil it was. That young man is still a young person, still a human being like you and I, and was driven to that extent of trying to shoot the former president. How did that happen? How did we get there? We need to look at beyond just the shooting. We need to look at what got him to that state. Not just him, anybody that wants to harm somebody else. It could be gun, it could be knife, because these are the issues we need to look at. So it's bigger than just, as important as the attempted assassination of President Trump was, I think we still look at it deeply. Why a human being with the right senses decided, you know what, I'm going to harm somebody else. I mean, there's a case of somebody just last week who was, decided, okay, I'm going to kidnap, a TV presenter, and I'm going to do all sorts of harms to that TV presenter and kill her and so on. Thank God that person is behind bars now. Or how did they get to that? And that is mine. So these are the issues that actually, worry me personally. How did they get that? What can we do to prevent things like that from happening? Because prevention is better than cure.
I agree. But I just want to add that, I mean, in America, a lot of these things are embellished. The way people from outside see it. I can't remember the last time I saw a gun. And I know people have it. I cannot.
Me too. Maybe on the telly. I see on the telly.
There, but I can't even recollect. Yeah. So then I know that the current statistics shows that crime rates have gone down a lot. Under Biden and all that. However, it's also important to add that we don't support crime. We don't support violence on Atlantic discourse. Whatever happened to President Trump, we're happy he survived. It's very, very important. We all want peace. The world needs peace. And I think we just have to also tone down the rhetorics, and all that.
Yeah.
We need more love in the world. America is the greatest country in the world. There's nothing anybody can say about that. It's an ideology that
I thought we are the Great Britain, so I don't know where you got that from.
So America, if not for America, Hitler will have taken over the whole of Britain. Having said that, we need to live in peace. We just have to say that to everybody. Yeah. Election is all war. Every 4 years there's an election. People win and lose and all that. Yes, former President Trump lost to Biden. Now he's running again. Even if he wins, he doesn't have more than 4 years to rule. Somebody else will come and all that. So that's the dynamics of the American system, and I think the world admires it. That's why America is what it is. That's why the Chinas, the Russias of this world, no matter how much envy or energy they dissipate against America, it is clear that they do not have anything as transparent as that of the United States of America. That's a statement of fact.
But I may want to disagree with you to some point.
Please go ahead,
because there's a saying that my father's farm is the biggest. But only until you then see somebody else's farm, then realize, wow, actually, my father's farm is actually, a fraction of somebody else's farm. This is where we have to, if we have every society, if you go back to Yoruba land, for instance, even before the British came, they saw a thriving democracy. Which is, is no competition to any until the colonial era, slavery and everything destroyed for us. We had the best democracy. Yeah, you have China, they say, India, they say is mother of democracy with, over almost 1 billion population. And we have every country, I believe, whatever works for you. I think this is where we get it wrong. We say, the British system, the American system. Whereas, if you work for the British, fair enough. Like people like me can participate. If you work in America, their own system, fine. But to then try to dictate to other parts of the world that this is how your democracies look like. to be honest with you, personally, I think it's BS. Every country, every part has the right to adopt a system of government, a democratic process that suits them and their people. No country on earth has the right to dictate to any other person or country that this is what it should look like. This is what your democracy should like. This is just my personal view. If in France, for instance, people of French people decide to elect Le Pen because they believe it's one that will serve their interests, who am I to criticize them? Likewise, if it's in China or Russia or anywhere else, what's important is that human beings, we need to learn to coexist and have mutual respect. Whatever system of government one country, one part of the world adopts, there should be mutual respect.
Okay.
That's my position, personal position.
It's your opinion. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, nobody should dictate to anybody, but like, UK, you practice the parliamentary system, the American practice the presidential system. The French system is almost a combination of both. You understand? So I don't think anybody is really dictating. I think what the Western world is trying to say is, those elections should be transparent. Nobody should be in power forever. Yeah, so I think that's the major. If that's what the people of that country want, so be it.
Yeah, but funny enough, again, what you said earlier about age and so on. That in some countries, even in Nigeria, they say, well, Tinubu is too old. I remember there was how they ridicule him before the election. Even some countries say, oh, this one is too old. We should leave it for the younger generation. Hello? I mean, in Yoruba, they say, Omodegbon Agbagbon La fi dale ife. It means whether young or old, we are blessed with, with so many gifts. So many gifts.
Let's look at
therefore, we can use it for the benefit of our country, of individual, of our community. So age should not be a barrier.
Let's look at age. Okay. Joseph R. Biden, 81 years old. Okay?
Yeah.
What's the guy in Cameroon again? I forgot his name. Oh, God. Paul Biya. Paul Biya is going to run for election again. I think this year or next year will be 92.
91, 92, 91.
91, 92. I don't know what Tinubu's official age is. Maybe 70-something. Okay. Now, let's look at these three as a focal point. Joe Biden, 81, Paul Biya, 91, 92, Tinubu, 70-something.
Yeah.
Who amongst those three do you think have delivered excellently well, economically, politically, amongst the three of them?
It's not for me to judge. And I'll tell you why I think, we have to be careful when we're talking about age. Personally, I think age should not even come to question. If the person is physically fit and he or she has the right... I'm only, and you have...
He lives permanently in Switzerland.
And
you only come for independence there.
That's another subject I'm going to touch. But let me finish this one. If you are physically fit and you are a good leader, because a good leader doesn't mean he or she does everything.
Absolutely.
It's about having the right people around you to delegate to and just oversee what they're doing, making sure they deliver for the people. Then where that is not the case, then we have a problem. And that can be even a young person. I mean, we see even some young governors in Nigeria, who have become billionaire overnight. The monies are supposed to use to develop their state. They is their Swiss bank account and going over big cars. We know what I'm talking about. So therefore, that's why we should raise that age. However, we are age also, because I think it's about physical health, that person you need to look at. In the case of Bob Biya now, or any other person in that category. I remember there was an event he went to, he was almost falling off the stage because, he couldn't stand. I mean, how can you even, understand what's been discussed around you and then be able to see how you can, use what you learn from those events to better the life of your people and the country you represent. So that is where the problem is. And also, if it's a family that then runs the whole country, whereby you go from father, you pass it on from father to mother, from to cousins and so on. That's where the problem is. But if I wouldn't, I'm not against anybody, no matter what their age, if they compete for an election and through a very open and transparent process, and they are elected through the open democratic process because people genuinely believe they can do the job. By all means, yes. But whereby they use all the machinery of government to prevent anybody else, including the opposition, even though I don't like to do that opposition. Maybe that's why we have problem in Africa, because we see opposition as our enemy that want to get rid of. Personally, if I'm going to write my book in future, I will say something around that, because we should delay the war. Opposition is foreign to us, because we believe opposition as our enemy that we want to get rid of. So we have to find a different word to use, even though because we agree and disagree in Africa through our system for generation to generation. But it's only when we adopted the Western system, the so-called Western system, that's why, okay, Ade disagree with me, I must punch his face. Oh, Ade disagree with me, I must eliminate him. It was never our system. So we have, obviously, it's something we need to revisit in future. So there's a lot of things we need to look at, whether we just can't copy every system we find from, around the world and then transplant it to our own environment. I think it's going to work. No, what works for France or Spain or America or Britain or China or Russia or even Turkey may not work for Nigeria or work for Ghana. So therefore, sometimes I ask myself, who are our so-called political scientists? And they spend years on research and so on, and they could go come up with something that indigenous that work for their own people. It's still beyond my imagination, to be honest. Yeah.
Interesting. You're spoken, you always the truth to power like that. But you see, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, India is the best example I always give. Commonwealth nation, they took the best of Britain and they took the best of their culture and merged it. Today, India is the largest population, has the largest population of human beings in the world.
Exactly. Second to China.
You can tell from India that they never left their culture. They are a nuclear power state, technologically advanced. There's no record of a coup in India. We always give that example. Indira Gandhi was assassinated as prime minister. The military didn't take over. In an average African country, that is recipe for coup d'etat. The son Rajiv Gandhi became prime minister. He was equally assassinated, and that is automatic coup d'etat in a lot of African countries. And nothing happened. So, India, a bit volatile, but stable in everything, So,
Of course, that doesn't mean they don't have their own problem, but they find their own indigenous ways of dealing with their challenges, and that's what every country should do. I'm supporting what you said, which is a valid point. Yeah, that's right.
But before I leave that topic, let me just tell you, African leaders that are maybe over 70 are not doing well. So there's some doing well, some not. Kagame is somebody I admire very much. I just don't know why I like Kagame. He's old, but I mean,
he's Kagame,
Paul Kagame in Rwanda. But now in Cameroon, we have this man, Paul Biya. He's going to be 92, I think. He's there. In what's this other country? In Namibia, the guy there, that's Nagulu Mbumba. He's 82. Alassane Ouattara, Ivory Coast, 88. Let me check. Theodora Nguema Mbasongo, Equatorial Guinea, is 81. That guy's been there for
according to what I think Ouattara is actually he was immigrant or something. I think he's from a different country.
That's right. Northern Ivory Coast, they are Muslim people that came from Mali.
That's right.
And all that. The guy that took over from Mugabe, Emerson Mnangagwa, is
89,
Nana Akufo-Addo, almost 80. Bukai Liberia, 79. Museveni, 79. The guy from Algeria, 78. Omar Gwele, Djibouti, 76. President Tinubu, 72, even though that age is still a bit. So we can go on and on. The point
I
I'm trying to
think
make is
you
that,
don't forget in kinds of Tinubu, of course you have to give it to. I just don't want to let that go before I comment.
go
Don't
ahead,
forget,
go ahead
even
with the
though
discussion.
even there are some people who are saying that that's probably not his real age, and whether the way it looks and educational, obviously. However, bless our old our late queen, she had two birthdays. So that the official
God
one
bless the
and
queen. Yeah.
non-official one. So I believe everybody's entitled to that.
Okay, so let's look at it. There are a lot of elections taking place all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
We have the American election is in November. We've discussed it. It's going to be interesting, like you said. And the fortunate thing about America is that people's votes always count. In Nigeria, I've always said it. In the past, our elections are free, but they're never fair. Now they're not free and they're not fair. I mean, despite the humongous
Well,
investment.
I want to take you on that one. You said the
Please
American,
go
of
ahead.
course.
Go ahead.
We, I mean, don't forget one is why, Mr. Trump, obviously he has some, he been taken to tax
Against
on
the election.
because, I mean, obviously, you see, well, beauty in the eye of the beholder, as they say. You guys might say that your election is free and fair, but at the same time, one of your, you know, you know, elect candidates, challenge that. Obviously that was one of the,
And he
of
didn't win one
course,
case in court. Not
one of
one case did
no,
he
I'm
win.
just
So
saying. No, I'm just saying that. So if you look at other countries as well, if the opposition has the right to challenge the election, but what happened is that they try to get rid of that opposition by all means necessary. So you may say that in America it's probably more transparent in the process and so on. I think it's what we also need to look at. Look at India. India has almost a billion, about 100 million voters, eligible voters, yet it do everything well smoothly. And then countries that have only a fraction, that not even 1/3 of that population or eligible voters have problem. What do we need to do to increase confidence in our electoral system? I think irrespective of how old our country, how big that country is, I think it's something we actually need to look at. Don't just brush it aside thinking, oh, we are the modern democracy of the world. When even it's only a few number of people who complain, just like in a general election just gone, we used to think our election was one of the best ones around the world. But when some opposition say that they believe there are still some elements of electoral fraud we need to prevent. What do? We introduce ID card, we introduce so many things that make sure at least if you minimize it as much as possible. So it's only when we allow complacency to come in out of arrogance, I think that's where the problem is. It's not people ask questions or raise questions, is how we take those questions and deal with them. I think that's what matters, in my opinion.
I agree with you. I mean, the democracy itself, it's defined as government of the people, by the people, for the people. There are different type of description for democracy. I mean, practice, that's why you have the presidential, parliamentary, and all sorts. Some people combine it. But having said that, I think it's important to note that this year there are a lot of elections in Africa. We have Rwanda. Yeah, Rwanda is a key one. I think Ghana too. Nigeria, key one. Some are unconfirmed yet, but we're looking at Chad, Botswana, Tunisia, Somalia, Namibia, Equatorial Guinea, Mauritius. Ghana is 7th of December. We're really, really, really watching out for that. South Sudan, President and National Assembly. The president there is also is aging. So it's going to be interesting. Hopefully everything remains the same. I don't think anything will change in Rwanda, but the rest we should watch out for. So let's look at that. The turmoil in Kenya. I'm sure you've been following the events in Kenya a lot.
I've been watching telly. It's quite it's quite disappointing. Of course, one thing I love about how things have evolved over the last couple of weeks is that the people are strong, and they were, despite the machinery of government trying every way possible to prevent them from expressing themselves, they insisted that no, we are not going to have this, especially the young generation. And when we are talking about the young generation, especially when you talk about all these old leaders who want to stay there forever and ever, I think they should watch their back. Because if you prevent peaceful change from happening, then what will happen afterwards. It is going to be very forceful, uncontrollable, and it becomes inevitable. Because it's going to time when people don't care about their health, about their life anymore. Absolutely. They say, no, I'm better off dead fighting for what I believe in than staying alive and smiling, suffering and smiling, like Fela said. So I think our leaders, I just don't know, if you are doing a great job, I don't know why anybody wants to stay there forever and ever if you are really serving the people. Because even those of us who are even at the lower level that believe we are doing, it's very stressful. Being a leader is extremely stressful. I mean, you hardly have time to see your family, to spend time with family, to enjoy, because you are busy trying to serve, and then how do you want to stay there forever and ever? Not create opportunity for other people to come in, whether young, old, men, women, to come and do their bit as well. I just can't understand some people, honestly. They want to stay there forever and ever. They want to put their wife, their husband, their, whoever. Well, I mean, what kind of society is that? So coming back to the, the issue of Kenya, it's sad that, I mean, the recorded number of people that died was about 41 or something. And then the last 24 or 48 hours, they discovered that were some people, they were kidnapped and then killed, somewhere. They've just recovering them from an old mining pit where it was showing on the telly. In fact, I watched it this afternoon. And, the bodies are just been, taken from the, from the old mining pit, and they are still recovering some of the corpses. I mean, then you ask yourself, is that democracy? Is that democracy? Simply because the young people disagree. They believe you're taking an IMF loan, and then it's not even that you're going to say we're going to build new schools or new roads. You're going to use it to service your ego. New cars, office of the first lady, just like in Nigeria. They went another step further. Office of the wife of the vice president, lady. The lady, vice lady or whatever title it. Have we lost it? No, have we really lost it in Africa?
In Africa, we have.
When there's no road, no hospital, I see how many Kenyans, suffering. But one good thing, this where the young people the young generation have to give them credit. They say, no, enough is enough. And these are people trying to come to Europe, risking their lives to Mediterranean Sea to come to Europe because they think there's a greener pasture. Some of them died in the Sahara Desert. Some of them died in this Mediterranean Sea just to think trying to smuggle themselves into Europe. And now Europe, even including our own country, they're closing their borders. Then these people, those who are staying at home say, no, we are going to stay here and fight. And we are not going to taste this BS from you guys anymore. And what did Ruto do? They forced Ruto to, you know, to change his, his position on signing of the of the IMF loan, isn't it? So he hasn't ratified it as far as as far as I know. And then he was, sorry. No, I don't think
we touch it again.
No, he has sacked he has sacked all the beneficiary of that loan, because he sacked all his ministers and so on, apart from those who are constitutionally beyond his control, like I think civil servant, and also the courts or something, So now, because I believe he's still young enough, because when you say young, he's still young, he's not in 90, so I would say he's young. So for a young president like that to be forced to that position, where was his mind, his brain before he got to that stage? When even was proposed to him? Because anybody can propose any kind of nonsense to you as a leader. Then it's for you to then look at it very carefully and say, how will I go to my village and tell my people in village who haven't got water, who haven't got roof over their head, who haven't got even not even tar road, just ways to get to their farms? How am I going to tell them we are spending this amount of money on cars?
Let me ask you this.
So you can see where we get here on.
Yeah, let me interject you. Do you think there's a lesson in all that happened in Kenya for leaders in Nigeria and Africa at large?
I think it's a big lesson, because don't forget, we are in information age, where young people are well connected than before. But I for instance, even me, those of us in our 60s, that there was nothing called computer or internet when we were young. We are catching up. Talk less of those guys that within seconds, so they can,
thousands of miles apart.
They can mobilize people within seconds, because that's how they did it. You think the rest of Africa, they are not watching? If you look at what happened during NSAS, for instance, they use social media as well, didn't they? And government who probably think, oh yeah, we're going to control it, they will always find a way around it. Trust me. They are so IT savvy that they will, if the government think you can control them, they will find their way around it. And I think that we are now seeing a new generation of young people that say, you know what, we are not going to take this BS anymore. We are going to fight for our rights. And that's just the beginning. It could be Kenyan young people, youth that start that movement. But trust me, I think you can see more of that. I hope, our leaders are proactive and prevent from happening, not by suppressing them, but quickly. As a Christian, we believe in repentance, and repent, say, before I die, let me just repent of my sins. Okay, let's start doing the right thing. I hope they do that. But if they don't, it's a matter of time. I think the whole of Africa, I just pray it doesn't explode the way things are going, unless there are massive positive changes in the way they run their affairs. Yes.
Yeah, they already established date and ultimatum to governments in Nigeria, in Ghana, and I think Ethiopia. I think in Nigeria it's for sometime in August. Revolution now. And it's picking up pace, it's picking up a lot of steam and traction. The poverty level in Nigeria now is really overwhelming. I don't have to be the one saying it's common knowledge. The debt, Nigeria's debt now is well over 100 trillion. The government, we just saw a picture of the new jet that was bought by the president that is being refitted somewhere in the world, despite the fact that people are complaining. That's highly insensitive. I didn't mention, I think in my last episode, that jet they are talking about, I'm sure it's been paid for already. So I think our leaders are just insensitive to people, and it's really disgraceful. And whatever Ruto is going through right now, he deserves it, because he should have just opened up a dialogue. Okay, this is what IMF wants, this is what World Bank wants. People, how should we handle it? In democracy, irrespective of what type you practice, actually mean government of the people. You have to discuss with your people. That's why you have all these people representative and all that. So Africa is going to be interesting. A lot of elections ahead, and it's looking like from now on it's going to be difficult to read because people have been pushed to the wall now, and how people react, we'll find out. But they have said a fantastic thing. So before we go, you have one more question. I know you believe a lot in the Dual Republic. Yeah,
Yes,
that's Yoruba apologies. And your being guest today is not in capacity as deputy mayor of your borough in the UK. Here as
an individual, as a Lambe, and as a Yoruba man.
As a Yoruba man,
of
Nigerian origin, southwestern Nigeria.
Absolutely.
That the southwestern Nigeria should be called Oduduwa Nation. It should be independent. It should be carved out of what is called Nigeria today.
It's not me. That's what we were before. It's not me. Remember, we used to have Odua investment and so on those days. So
exactly.
So we used to have all that.
Yeah, what's the situation with that struggle?
I mean, all I can say is that the momentum is going, and I believe those those who are our leaders like Professor Banji Akintoye, who's the front, he's and other people, of course, the leader is just one person. You have other people who are working silently around you to make things happen, including Chief Sunday Igboho, who's who, when it comes to the issue around security, who feels passionate about it.
Minister of Defense, yeah.
Yes, yeah, of course, you see, some people may smile or laugh when we talk about people like Chief Sunday. I think this is where we got it wrong. Because if we want to measure each person by the standard of the Western, education or perception, then I think this is probably where we've been going wrong. And that's why things have been falling apart for so long in our society. No wonder we talk about the naira that's as worthless as some toilet paper. Forgive me if I say that, because somebody who said that in Uganda many years ago. You know what happened to him? He didn't know what happened to him. Thank God Nigeria hasn't hasn't gone that bad.
Nigeria is not there. Are you sure?
No, I don't. No, I believe there's still some sane people left.
Benin money, Togo money has more value than Naira now. But I'm sure you didn't believe that will happen in your lifetime.
But yes, it's true. Absolutely. I remember when I came to England in the 80s. I think Naira was as strong as, if not stronger than the pound sterling that time, And look at where Naira is today. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And you want us to stay in that contraption where nothing works, no road, no hospital. Just pray. I just pray when I go to Nigeria, I don't fall sick. And nothing was, no housing, no food, even people, shouting, Ibn Power, we are hungry. You hear that, they post it on social media. I mean, people are no job, and yeah, you have money to go and buy a presidential jet of whatever amount is, it takes. And then they are planning to create more states. And funny enough, I did a presentation. I don't know if I mentioned a program before. I think that was about 29 years ago. Let me see. No, not 29. 2005. How long ago that? Is that 19 years, isn't it? Is that 19 years?
2005 to date. Yeah, about 19 years.
19 years ago. I remember I was invited to speak at the Nigeria Commission in London. And one of the things I remember I commented upon was that was when they were actually going to create more states. I think it was from 19, then they wanted to, then I commented that, hang on, you have 19 before. You could hardly even afford the salaries of all the parastatals and so on. And then you go and increase it to 36. Are you nuts? Guys, I mean, it's not like me. I have one wife and if maybe 2 or 3 children, and we can't even live properly, maybe in 2 bedroom or something, and then go and marry second or third wife with more children. Nobody needs to tell me that I've gone, completely mad to do that.
Ballistics.
So look at, that's the kind of people we have in Africa. That's the kind of leadership we are talking about. And yeah, you find even some young people, because they say, oh, they are too old. You find some young people who are also in position of power. They are waiting for their turn. That's the kind of corrupt environment we find ourselves. So it's now become a culture. Oh yeah, let me just finish it. Even if you dare to criticize them, you should see the way they jump at you. So coming back to the initial question, I think when you look at the development we had under Obafemi Awolowo, even before independence in 1960, and then if you look at when the new generation like Chibola Ige and Ajasin and all the rest, Jakande, then led the Second Republic. If you look at development we were able to achieve, we are better off on our own. Not even regionalism or whatever they call it anymore. We just need our independence. We're over 60 million people, for Christ's sake, just in Nigeria alone. You can imagine before you start looking at the Republic of Benin, Togo, our kings and brothers and sisters from up, by the time we start working together, talk less of Trinidad and Tobago, talk less of Brazil. I mean, look at all that. Yoruba, we are a nation, we are a race, we are not a tribe, and we deserve to be free. And my people will be free. It's a matter of time. And I'm 100% in favor of our freedom, our independence, our sovereignty as a new country. It's a matter of time. Even if it's the only thing I fight for, before, God calls me, I'm 100% behind it. So I'm not shying away from that.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Even though you're not here in that capacity, former councillor, now Deputy Mayor, London Borough, sort of Mr. Sonny Lambe, a major advocate and proponent of Oduduwa Republic, and he said it that in his lifetime, he prays that comes to fruition. African leaders, time to sit up. The chicken is definitely coming home to roost. For those that have not felt the impact of their youth, I can assure you, the day is coming, the clock is ticking, tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. It's never going to be like this forever. If you doubt me, go and read about revolution all around the world. From the French Revolution downwards, they're all hunger-driven. I'm telling you. And hungry people, if they are not coordinated, when they unleash, Nigeria is the largest concentration of Black people on the planet. Your people can't be hungry and you're buying private jets. It's just pure disrespect.
It's madness.
It's just madness. I don't even know which word to use. It's just absolute madness. Mr. Lambe, thank you so much. Thank you for always hitting our call. I know you're very busy, man. I respect that. Thank you for always.
Thank you for inviting me, brother. Peaceful change in Yoruba land is coming. Peaceful change is inevitable. Peaceful change, inevitable. Yoruba nation is a matter of time. Very soon.
I know something is coming. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I know we're on the verge of something. I can sense it. And I don't really even think we're going to break up. I'm not saying it's impossible, but Nigeria cannot go on like this. It's just pathetic. Yeah.
Obviously,
our worsts are ruling us. Even in diaspora, we're not even doing what we're supposed to do. Yeah, we're not coordinated enough.
Well, I mean, I can understand. There are some people I remember when we were young. When we say let's go out, there are some people even before say go, they are ready. They already put their, they want to go. They don't even decide where are we going tonight? Those days, where are we going to? Or this weekend, where are we going? They're already Sonny, which joint are we going? I remember those days when Nigeria was still great place, we rock during the weekend and so on. And they are ready. Just the question of, okay, where do we go? And there are some people, they are never ready. They are never ready. Or some people, I don't know, Jare. So the same thing with the Yoruba nation. There are some people that will never be ready. They just believe in the status quo. And there's some people they already saying that, listen, there's no future in this. And I'm happy to be one of those people that I believe, we've spent 60, it's going to be 64 years very soon. And have we really achieved that unity? Just go and listen to commentaries on the social media between all the different nations we have in Nigeria, which include Yoruba and Igbo and so on. Why are we still together? We are not one. When we talk about language, we talk about culture, we talk about so many, we are not one. It's a contraption. You can't put, a pigeon and other kinds of birds. If you want to make it worse, put a fox among them, then you're in trouble, because that's exactly.
Thank you, Mr. Lambe. We're pressed for time. We have to go. It's a wrap there. Thank you, 7 continents.
Thank you.
Asia, Africa.
Yeah.
We love you so much. Europe, North America, South America. Thank you for your loyalty always. We've been talking to Sonny Lambe. We're looking at the potentials and the impact of the elections all over the world on policies and politics. It is important that whatever happens in America affects the whole world. Britain is relevant. France is relevant. Africa needs stability. It's not the function of age, like we said, but you have to obey your constitution. We don't need unhealthy 72, 78, 91-year-old leaders stay put in power for too long when their people is suffering. And for those that are taking their people for granted, well, Kenya has warned you. Take care. God bless you all. That's a wrap. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.